Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shout video today. Thinking about today, see what things came out, see what things are on sale. I know today though the two big releases that come out are the Jennifer Garner film Peppermint, as well as Equalizer 2. And I know there's going to be an exclusive Best Buy Steelbook of that one. I don't think there's any other exclusives of that one, but definitely going to check. Also though, at the end of this video is going to be a whole bunch of brand new DVD and Blu-ray reviews, some stuff I received to review and talk about for you guys. Some really cool stuff from Scream Factory, like Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, The Mangler, as well as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, as well as a whole ton of other really cool stuff. So definitely stay tuned for those at the end of this video. And also, as I always say too, let me know in the comments below, what you guys thought of them, if you guys have seen any of the titles that I reviewed at the end of this video. But anyway though, guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And this past week I didn't actually see anything new at the movies. Now I don't think anything new actually opened. I think there was some preview screenings of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is coming, releasing wide this Thursday, which is definitely one that I want to see. It's got it's been getting amazing reviews. But if you guys got to see anything though this past weekend, let me know, in the comments below what you guys saw. But like I said, I don't think anything major, there was any big releases at all, wide releases of anything this weekend. In here though, it doesn't look like they put out the Equalizer 2, but that one's $29.99 for the 4K, $22.99 for the Blu-ray. One of the other ones that released today was Unbroken Path to Redemption. This is actually I think it was an unrelated sequel to the film Unbroken that Angelina Jolie directed, but I don't think this is like a actual official sequel or something like that. People said that I had read about this one. I don't know a ton about this, but I think this was what happens after the first movie, technically. Like I said, also Jennifer Garner film Peppermint releases. I'm going to be talking about this one at the end of this video, but I actually really like this one a lot. I thought she did a really good job in this movie. This movie also came out today, this movie Colette, starring Keira Knightley. I don't know much about this one, but I do believe there's a Blu-ray of this as well. If you guys have seen this one, let me know how this one was. I think there was a couple things over here on the other side, like some TV things that may have been today. I think this one might have released today, this the Bold Type Season 2. I don't know anything about this one. I've never actually seen any episodes of this one, but this one is $19.99 here. But actually though, one other thing did come out today, and that was Smallfoot. That one's $22.99 for the Blu-ray, and then it's $15.99 for the DVD. Into Walmart we go. And there's actually one thing in here I want to try and find this movie. It looks like they should have it in here. Hopefully they ended up putting it out. So fingers crossed that it's on the shelf in here. In here though, they have the Equalizer out. It's going to be $27.96 for the 4K and $19.99 for the Blu-ray of that one. The DVD is $17.96. They also have in here exclusive only at Walmart one for $24.96, which includes a double feature of both of the films here. I haven't seen the sequel yet. I really like the first one. If you guys have seen the sequel, let me know in the comments below how that one was. When it comes to Smallfoot though, they do have an exclusive of that one. This one has a little Funko Pop keychain here. That one's $27.96 for this exclusive one, and then the standard Blu-ray here is $22.96. Also, I believe this one came out today. This one, Running From Your Roots. I believe this released today. And they have an exclusive here of Unbroken Path to Redemption here, which includes a booklet in here, a collectible booklet for this one. That one's $17.96. Also today, this shark film came out today for $9.96, Frenzy. So I haven't seen this one. I don't know if this was a Sci-Fi Channel film or not. And also though, I'm going to talk about this one at the end of this video. I really like this movie. Just a really sad movie though. This was $14.96 or $12.96 for the DVD. And there's also a 4K. That's going to be the one I'm talking about at the end. This movie starring Ben Foster and Elle Fanning. Really like this movie. Also, another really good one that came out today for $14.96 is the film Lizzie, which is the story of Lizzie Borden. This one stars Chloe Sevigny and Kristen Stewart. As well as today was the Bella Thorne film I Still See You. I talked about this one in my video last week. Another one that I really liked a lot, but they do have the one in here that I wanted to get. This one here for $12.96. This one, Welcome Home, which stars Aaron Paul and Emily Ratajkowski, which actually looked really interesting from the trailer, so I'm definitely going to get this one. They also have this one, Dead Man Standing, for $12.96. I'm going to be talking about that one at the end of this video. Other than that in here, though, they do have that came out today was Evil Dead 2, the 4K, and that one is $17.96 for that one. But like I said, though, I'm glad they actually have this one put out. I didn't have to go to another store for that. But don't see anything else in here really too different today. But like I said, definitely gonna pick this one up. Yeah, but like I said, I ended up getting that Welcome Home one in there. Also, though, I got this movie here, The Night Shift. This is one of the ones that came out last Tuesday. I tried to find it in there, but they didn't have it out at all. But luckily enough, this one was, you know, put out in there today. It's a cool cover on this one, though. If you guys have seen either of those ones, these ones here, let me know, though, what you guys thought of them. Into Best Buy we go. In here, though, like I was saying, a big thing that came out today was Equalizer, and they have for $32.99 the Steelbook of this one, and it's a 4K edition Steelbook for this one. Like I said, haven't seen this one, so if you guys have seen the sequel, let me know how this one was. Other than that, though, they actually have in stores, and I don't think this actually comes out till next Tuesday. I'm not 100% sure, though. For $139, The Shield, the complete series here. I always really like this show, so cool that this one has released on Blu-ray. I watched, like, when this was on, I think I watched like the first like 4 seasons. I know I didn't see every single episode, though, but I watched a number of them while it was on and really did like that. So cool that one's on Blu-ray. Also today, this one here, the Orville, the complete first season release, that one's $19.99 for that one, as well as Peppermint is here for $22.99, and Smallfoot here is $24.99. I'm going to be talking about this one at the end of this video as well. Other than that, though, this one here, River Runs Red, released today on 4K, and that one is $19.99 for that one. But I don't see anything else in here too different today. That I don't believe there's anything else that I missed showing that released today. But like I said, really cool, though, to see the Shield in here. But like for some reason, I thought that one was next Tuesday, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But still, really cool they're carrying this one in stores. Yeah, so I was looking online. It looks like the Shield is next Tuesday. So if you guys see it in your stores today, it might not scan, because sometimes if something, you know, doesn't release till the following week and it's like put on the stores, you know, on the floor by mistake, this stuff won't scan, though, so you can't get it till next week. But like I said, maybe Best Buy's getting it a week early. I don't know. But like I always say, though, if you guys enjoy these shopping videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Also, like I said, let me know in the comments below what you guys picked up, if you guys picked up anything today. Now stay tuned now for a whole bunch of brand new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got here is from Shot Factory Scream Factory line. It's the movie here, The Mangler, which is directed by Tobe Hooper. It's based on a story by Stephen King, a short story by Stephen King. This movie, though, I was always really creeped out by this movie ever since I first saw this. There's something about the whole vibe and everything, like the look of this movie. It's just such a creepy film. I will say, though, the last, like, 30 minutes of this movie I never thought were like totally perfect, but still always really liked it, because I thought like the first half or so up until the last 30 minutes was like really cool, and then it just wasn't amazing, like the stuff that happens at the end, but still really like this, though. Essentially, though, this is about this laundry folding factory, this like this factory that like does huge like heavy washes of like these big bed sheets and all kinds of stuff for like hotels and businesses and stuff like that. And there's this big machine that's called like the Mangler, which is what, you know, folds the laundry and presses it and everything. And this woman ends up getting pulled into the machine and crushed and killed. And it's like this really insane sequence and everything. And the place is run, the laundry factory, by Robert Englund, who plays this insane character in all this heavy makeup. And he's got some amazing quotable lines in this, like these crazy lines. Like one of my favorite lines in here is he's like, they're like, "What are you going to do?" He's like, "What am I going to do? I'm going to dance." And he's doing this like crazy, weird dance and stuff. He is like a totally an insane, creepy character. Kind of like, his character always kind of reminded me, too, of something that would be like out of Nothing But Trouble. Like, it's like this, like, real nuts character. But essentially, though, Ted Levine, who plays a police officer in this movie, he's like a detective going in to look at what had happened and look at, you know, the accident and everything. And it's sort of him. He starts to find out more and more about the history of this business, and that there's been other things there that are weird that have happened. And it's sort of like, kind of like all these things that he kind of comes to discover. And there's also something that really creeped me out as well when I first saw this, that deals with like this refrigerator too. This refrigerator freezer thing that royally creeped me out. But Ted Levine, though, who I always think of from, you know, Silence of the Lambs, he's really good in this as the detective. There's also this other character too that takes pictures like of like the crime scene photos photos. That another character that really creeped me out in this movie. This, like I said, all around, this is a very creepy movie. Now, also, I want to mention, too, this has on here a new 2K scan of the unrated cut of the film. So really cool, they have the unrated cut on here. Also has a commentary track on here with the co-writer, Stephen David Brooks, as well as Hell's Bells, an interview with Robert Englund. So that's really cool as well. But a really, really cool film. If you guys have seen this one, too, let me know what you guys thought of this one. Next one here is from Scream Factory as well. It's the collector's edition here of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. And this was Kim Henkel, you know, who, you know, I think he was like one of the writers or producers on the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He kind of considered this to be like the direct follow-up, the direct sequel to the original film. That's like what his intention with this film. And it's not by any means a perfect film or anything. It is like the very first film, though, that Renee Zellweger acted in. And, you know, Matthew McConaughey's in this movie as well. And he's like, this wasn't his first movie, though. He'd done a couple other things before this. But I'm pretty sure this was like Renee Zellweger's exact first movie. And for years, she didn't talk about this movie. And recently, though, she was talking about this one and said, oh, yeah, it was a good time and everything. And I liked the actor who played Leatherface in this movie. But I always liked portions of this movie. It's like looking back at it now, though, I like it a lot more than I did when I first saw this. And I think it is a cool film in the series. It's different than the other movies. There's aspects of it, too, that remind me a little bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, kind of, like a little bit. Essentially, though, this is about a group of these friends who are leaving the prom, and they end up getting into this accident where they end up hitting something, and they're having all sorts of problems, but then they end up getting, like, hitting this car because they take this, like, kind of shortcut road, because, like, the main part of the road is closed, and they end up hitting this person, and this one guy ends up getting injured, and they're going around trying to find help, and they find this woman who ends up calling the tow truck. And then, of course, though, this is like, you know, Leatherface's family that, you know, picks him up, and it's like becomes a whole nightmare situation. And Matthew McConaughey's in here as like the tow truck driver, and he has like this like messed up leg that he has like controlled by like a remote control and everything. And Matthew McConaughey was great in this movie. I thought like it was a really kind of crazy role for him, kind of like the character, like I said, in the third Leatherface film, like that character that was in that one a little bit. There was a crazy character similar to Matthew McConaughey's character in this one. And like I said, it's not the same type of Leatherface kind of stuff going on either. It's not as much like crazy chainsaw deaths and stuff like that in this movie. It's more like just like crazy, like dealing with kind of like the family scene in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's more of like that kind of stuff going on. But still, I do like aspects of this movie, and it has on here though the HD version of the theatrical cut, and then it has the director's cut, which is a little bit longer version in standard definition on here. So glad they included both cuts of this film. And then it has on here a bunch of different features on here. It has an interview on here with the director of photography. It has Mark for Death, an interview with actor Tyler Cohn. If Looks Could Kill, interview with special effects creator on here, as well as behind the scenes footage on this one. Still gallery theatrical trailer as well on this. The next one here, oh yeah, also it has reversible artwork. So it has the original poster artwork underneath. I set it to have that one. And the next one here is from Scream Factory as well. And this is really cool. They released this. And this is Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. And this is the collector's edition of the film. And this movie is one of those movies where it's famous for that one scene of him going, "It's garbage day." You know, if you've seen those like, you know, clips online and stuff like that, when they're showing like, you know, crazy weird acting scenes and stuff like that, that famous scene is from this movie. And this is it's the fun thing that's funny about this movie is like the first 40 minutes of this movie are like footage for like he's like the character who's like the brother of the killer in the first Silent Night, Deadly Night. He's like telling the tales of like, you know, he's in the mental hospital, and like he's talking to his doctor and everything. He's like playing this real like hard kind of character. He's like kind of like a Fonzie kind of guy. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this," and he's basically like telling the tale of what happened by telling the tale of what happened with his brother and how his brother, you know, dressed like Santa Claus and killed people and everything. There's basically just like, you know, probably 35 minutes of footage from the first movie. So this is one of those movies too where if you guys didn't see the first movie, don't worry about it, you know, because, you know, you'll see it in this, like the way they cut it together and everything, because they recap so much of this. The last half of this movie though is the character, you know, of of Ricky, and it's kind of like his kind of showing how he ended up in the psychological hospital and mental hospital and everything, and like his kind of like revenge and everything, and like so it's like it is a bunch of new stuff as well. But I don't know, I love the first movie, and of course, like I said, there was so much footage from the first movie, but still though, you know, watch the first movie as well, because you know there's a lot of other stuff that wasn't put into this one. But this is just a fun movie and really cool to see this one in HD, because originally when I first saw this movie years back, for some reason I was convinced that it was shot on videotape, and I don't know why. I thought it was like shot like on like beta or something like that, and I don't know why I thought that, because I think that was like the way it looked years ago. So seeing this remastered, because it's a 2K scan, looks amazing. Like they did an amazing job cleaning up this movie. It has on here though a commentary track on here with a co-writer and actor Eric Foreman and James Newman on here. Silent Night Deadly Night. You know, Sleigh Bells Right Out Again, the story of Silent Dead Night, which has interviews with co-writer and directors on here, as well as Garbage Day Again, that's going and looking at the film locations. I always love seeing the film locations of stuff, so that was really cool. They went and showed like how they looked then and how they look now, you know, how they looked in the movie. And there's also a thing here called Ricky Today, a short film featuring interview with Ricky Caldwell, and it's basically the actor who played Ricky kind of like reenacting kind of like the way his character was and kind of getting interviewed now and stuff on here, as well as an extended interview with makeup artists on this one, as well as a commentary track on this. But a really, really great release, and also it has on here the reversible artwork on this one. And the next one I got here is from Shout Factory, Scream Factory line as well, and it's a movie here called Starman, which is directed by John Carpenter and stars Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen. I feel like this is one of the John Carpenter movies you don't hear about too often, you know, as much as some of his other films, and it's actually a really, really cool movie. I saw this one years and years back, so it's really cool to watch this one again. But essentially, though, this is about this alien spacecraft that ends up getting shot down, and it's about the government trying to track down the spacecraft, and you know who or what was inside of the craft. And the alien ends up stumbling into, you know, Karen Allen's character's house, and she's really depressed because recently her husband, who was played by Jeff Bridges, recently had died. So she's in the house, like looking over home movies and scrapbooks and everything, and kind of just remembering and just being really sad about, you know, just kind of remembering when he was alive. And this alien ends up, you know, it has no like face or anything like that. It ends up like seeing the scrapbook, and in the scrapbook there's some of Jeff Bridges' character's hair in there, and it ends up, you know, cloning Jeff Bridges' character and being born again, but doesn't have any of the memories or any of that kind of stuff. But there's a crazy sequence of the alien like being born and starting off as this baby and growing into, you know, Jeff Bridges when he was an adult, and the way Karen Allen's character knew him, you know, when he was alive. And essentially, though, this alien needs to, you know, get to a certain area in a certain spot, and Karen Allen has to drive this alien and get them to this area, while at the same time the government is kind of like tracking them down, coming after them, and it's kind of like this road movie about them having like problems that they have along the way, and like obstacles and everything. And also too, like Karen Allen's character is like, you know, her husband is back in a sense, so it's kind of like this whole thing, but at the same time doesn't have the memories or anything, but it's still sort of the husband. It's just a really, really well done movie. Like I said, you don't hear about this one too often. On here though, transfer wise, looks really, really good, and has on here brand new interviews with John Carpenter, Jeff Bridges, and the script supervisor Sandy King Carpenter on this one, as well as a theatrical trailer, still gallery, and TV spots. Also, this has the reversible artwork underneath here, which has the original poster art, but a really, really great John Carpenter movie. So definitely I would recommend you guys check this one out for sure. Let me know in the comments too what you guys saw this one, if you have seen this one in the past. And the next one's here from Shout Factory as well, and these are two releases. I want you guys to know that these ones are available, and these are Major League Baseball Presents, and these are all about the World Series. Now this one here is the World Series documentary, which kind of goes over all of the games that led up to the World Series and the whole event of the World Series, you know, with a team and everything, and has like interviews with them and kind of like recaps of the game and everything here. And then this one here is the 8-disc collection, which is all, you know, the World Series Collector's Edition here, which includes all 5 games from the 2018 World Series, the complete ALDS Game 4 and ALCS Game 5, plus it has on here 4 audio options: TV, home radio, away radio, and Spanish language broadcast on this one as well. And it also includes the game stats as well in this release. So like I said, just want you guys know that these ones are available. Yeah, see, it has all the game stats and everything in this set. But like I said, just want you guys know that this one, these two ones were available from Shout Factory as well. The next one here is from Lionsgate. This is from the producer Dick Wolf, you know, who is behind Law and Order and a whole bunch of different cop shows. And he, you know, this is it was interesting. I watched the making of on this one. This movie here is called The Super, and this is a movie that he had like the idea to, like the kind of concept of this for like, I think it was like 40 years or something that he like really wanted to do this. So it was so cool that he actually got to, you know, get this movie produced and made this. And this is you know, this one of the writers behind Black Swan was the writer of this, and this stars Val Kilmer. And I really like this. I thought this was actually kind of interesting and different. It's basically, though, about this guy this father who moves with his two daughters to, he comes to be this superintendent, or one of, this is this huge building, so he's like be one of the superintendent kind of maintenance man at this building, and he goes in there and it's like a really creepy building, and he ends up going, like, they don't even have anywhere for him to stay, so he's like staying in almost like this really small, like dilapidated, messed up room, you know, with his family and everything down there. And they're like, oh, it's only temporary and everything. And one of the people that works there, who's like the head maintenance superintendent of the building, is played by Val Kilmer. And he's like acting really weird. The second they get there, he's like looking at him kind of weird. And the you know, the manager of the building is like, yeah, he's doing some weird stuff. He does stuff with like voodoo, and you don't really want to talk to him too much unless you have to. And you just can tell there's something kind of peculiar about him. And of course, though, right when they get to this building, though, it's sort of like you know, in the very beginning of this movie too, you see that this this woman who with her you know, her boyfriend who was severely injured, you know, she's kind of taking care of and everything, and he's like seeing something in this building, and they get attacked and stuff, and they end up getting killed. And this is like in the first 5 minutes of this movie, so you know that there's something like supernatural and odd going on in this building, and you're like, you know, trying to figure out what's going on with all this. And of course, though, this father who ends up you know, there with his kids, he starts noticing really weird things, and weird things are starting to happen around this building, and he's sort of trying to figure out what's going on and everything. And it's kind of like, who is involved in this? What is going? Is this some kind of a ghost sort of thing, or exactly what is this? And is Val Kilmer's character like involved in this somehow? It's sort of like one of these things where you're kind of like guessing this whole movie about what exactly all this is. And there's some interesting like turns of events in this movie. I actually honestly really thought this is kind of a cool, different movie. And it has on here, though, a making of, like I said, it's like about a 15-minute or so, and it's talking about, you know, Dick Wolf about, like I said, wanted to make this movie for years, and then how he kind of got together and found these directors for this movie, and kind of, you know, the casting process and everything on this. The next one here, and this is the 4K Ultra HD edition here of A Simple Favor, which stars Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. This is basically, though, about Anna Kendrick's character, who's kind of wants to do like vlogs and like mommy vlogs and that kind of stuff, and she's starting to do these things here and there, and kind of trying to figure out how she's going to go about it and everything, and doing cooking videos and tutorials and all that kind of stuff. And she becomes friends with Blake Lively's character, who's kind of someone who has like a lot of money, and she kind of like envies to be someone like her. And they become friends, and both of their kids are friends as well. And like she's sort of like Blake Lively's character is a little weird and kind of like strange the way she's acting and everything, and she kind of like is erratic behavior and everything. And one day she says, could you, you know, pick up my kid and watch my kid? And what ends up happening, though, is she ends up vanishing, goes totally missing, and Anna Kendrick's character is like doing vlogs talking about how my friend went missing, I don't know where she is, and it's kind of like her about this whole thing. And it's one of those serious mystery movies about where did her character go? You know, where did Blake Lively's character go? What ended up happening to her? And then, like, Blake Lively's character's husband comes around, and like she's seeing Anna Kendrick, and they're trying to figure out exactly, you know, what had happened. And looking into her past and everything, I honestly thought this was a really, really well done like thriller that's really making you wonder about all this. And it was directed by Paul Feig, you know, which is a very different movie for Paul Feig, who's known for like Bridesmaids and those kind of, you know, comedy films and stuff like that. I think this is one of the few, like, he might have done like one other thing in the past, but like I don't think for the most part, you know, he's done anything really like this in the past. So it was a very different thing for him. 4K wise, though, looks great on 4K. It's a very, very like super polished, slick film. so really, really looks good in 4K. And like I always say too, the big thing with 4K you always notice is like the contrast levels, which is with the HDR, which is basically you see like much richer colors, also a huge brightness level. The picture and everything is a whole lot brighter and everything to it. This has on here though 3 audio commentary tracks with cast and crew, 8 featurettes, a gag reel on here, and deleted scenes on this release. And the next one here is from Lionsgate as well. It's a movie here called Dead Man Standing, which stars Luke Arnold, C. Thomas Howell, Richard Riley, and MC Gainey. This is essentially though, it's about C. Thomas Howell's character who comes in this town, and he comes into this bar. And this woman comes up to him, and she's like, works the bars, like, because this is in the old West days where there's prostitutes and everything there in this, like, saloon. And she's, like, one of the prostitute women that works in this saloon. And she starts talking to C. Thomas Howell's character, and she's like, I feel like I knew you, and were you in this town where there was this total, like, bloodbath in this town, all these things that happened there? And, like, and it's based on a true story from what I was reading as well, or true events and stuff like this that had happened in the past. And essentially, though, she sort of starts talking to him about this thing that had happened in this town. And this town where she came from originally was totally like lawless, and everybody there was like falling apart. And like Richard Riley was playing the judge there, and then I believe he was the judge. Unless I'm mixing up who his character was, but it was basically though like everybody was kind of like there was like no real law, and like these bad people had kind of were taking over the town, and like everyone was like scared and everything. And it was sort of about one person who came to the town was sort of trying to fix things and trying to like take charge of everything and kind of get rid of the bad people and take them out and everything. That's essentially what it was for the most part, but it's all like leading up to like this insane like standoffs and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, like a huge bloody host situation that had happened here. Like I said though, this one here is called Dead Man Standing. And the next one here is from Universal, and this is one I saw in theaters as well and really liked this movie. This is from the director of Taken, and it stars Jennifer Garner in a really, really different role for her, and she did a really good job in this. And it's a movie called Peppermint. And this is basically though about the movie. Jennifer Garner and her husband and her kid are all going to the fair, and like when they're leaving that night, like it's like late at night, like these people come by and it becomes like a drive-by, and like she's injured but her kid and husband are killed. And it's like and like there's a reason why they were coming by to and targeting her husband and everything. And there's like you find out in the movie like what's going on with all that. But essentially though, these people that had done this, she solved them, where she was able to identify the shooters and everything. And like the whole system was all screwed up because like everybody was in everybody's pocket, where like the judge was like letting them go, and the police like were letting them go, and they basically just were set free when they know they did it, but like they said, oh, there's no evidence, and the lawyer was all corrupt and everything. And this is like 5 years later, and it's about her when she like disappeared for 5 years and was like training and building herself up to like become like be able to take these guys out. And it becomes a revenge film about her going to take out this whole operation of all the people that were involved. And it's like her becoming like a vigilante too as well in this. But like I said, this is like was such a different role for her, and like such a like an out there movie. And just, I really, honestly, 100% love this movie. I thought she just did a great job in this movie. I hope she does more films like this in the future. But this has on here a featurette on the movie, as well as a director's commentary track on this one. Also, too, Universal sent over these cool little promo items for this. And this is like a peppermint thing in here, which has a hot chocolate spoon in this, as well as a peppermint mug, which has the logo of this too. There's not an image of this on the Blu-ray, but there's a really great poster with Jennifer Garner with these angel wings behind her, but that's what these are from. Then it also has like peppermint on Blu-ray and digital December 11th. But just cool promo items for this. Also, this one here is from Universal as well, and it's a movie called Operation Finale, which stars Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley. And this is a a true story that I don't think they really had ever done a film or anything on in the past. And this is about going to attempt to capture Ben Kingsley's character, who was the person who was like with Adolf Hitler, and he was all about like in charge of like the whole thing about capturing the Jewish people and like the transportation and all that kind of stuff. Like really was a terrible person. He was a terrible guy. But they essentially though, they believe that they have, it's a mission though, with Oscar Isaac's character going to try and track him down. They believe they figure out where he is in Argentina. And it's kind of like them trying to find him and everything. And it's like a whole big like situation and everything. It's a really pretty well put together character piece. I always love though Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley. Oscar Isaac, I always think of him from Ex Machina, but he's been in lots and lots of stuff recently that I really liked. This has on here though a featurette as well as a commentary track on here with Chris Weitz. It's another movie too, where Chris Weitz is always known for kind of like American Pie and Love Actually and like romantic comedies and like straight comedies and stuff like that. But and this is a very different film for him as well. The next one here is from Sony, and this is the film here Venom, which stars Tom Hardy. And this is another one. This had a lot of mixed reviews, and like when I was going into this, I was really wondering, what I was going to think, because I saw this in theaters as well. And I love the Spider-Man series, the latest series of Spider-Man. Honestly, though, I've liked every single series of Spider-Man. I really look forward to seeing the new Spider-Man movie, which is getting amazing reviews as well. But this one, like I said, had mixed reactions and everything. And I never knew the Venom character too much. Like as a kid, though, I had like the toys of Venom, and I always liked the character, but I didn't know too much about him. You know what I mean? But I thought Tom Hardy did a really good job in this. This is essentially, though, Tom Hardy's character. And, the Venom character, though, I did know the character from Spider-Man 3, but a lot of people were saying that wasn't, like, a great rendition of him. But essentially, though, Tom Hardy's character is, like, an investigative, like, journalist, and he does, like, he's, like, the front of the camera talent who, like, dives into, like, kind of subjects that kind of have like some controversy behind them and things like that with his show and everything. And it ends up going into this one building where they're doing these kind of experiments and things like that, and he ends up getting himself fired. And he's going back in there to try and collect the evidence and everything, and there's this substance that was in there which which was the subjects of Venom, and kind of you find out how it got there in the beginning of this movie. But he ends up getting the substance gets out and attaches to Tom Hardy, and there's some great scenes in this, though, honestly, when he's first, like, becoming Venom, and, like, Venom's starting to take over, and it's, like, controlling him, and he's, like, this scene in this restaurant when he's, like, in this, like, fish tank and everything, and it's, I mean, Tom Hardy goes totally nuts in this movie when he's first transforming and everything, and Michelle Williams is in here as his girlfriend. I always loved Michelle Williams, always been a fan of her forever, but honestly, though, like I said, I know this has got mixed opinions of it, but I liked it. I really did like this. I liked the whole thing about, like, Venom, like, controlling him and, like, them, like, giving each other crap and, like, talking to each other and everything. I do wish they went with the R rating, because I know when they originally were making this, they were kind of thinking this was going to be an R-rated film. But still, even as a PG-13, it still was a pretty intense, film. But I do wonder, what it would have been like if it was, more like a Deadpool kind of thing, which I think originally, they were going to go for more of that kind of a level, I believe, from what I read and everything. I'm not 100% sure, though. But it has on here, though, extended post-credit scene as well as deleted scenes. Has plus over an hour of extras, including Venom Mode, a trivia track version. It has Designing Venom, Cenobite Secrets on here, as well as the Anti-Hero, so a whole bunch of featurettes on this one. The next one here is from Paramount. I want to let you guys know that this one is available. And I've talked about all these ones in the past, and I recently talked about the newest Mission Impossible film, which was Mission Impossible Fallout. But I've honestly liked all the Mission Impossible movies. I think I've pretty much seen every single one in theaters. The first one was, this is the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible 6 movie set here, which is has the 4K Ultra HD, the Blu-ray, as well as a digital copy of here, but it has all the movies. But the first movie was directed by Brian De Palma, which was a really different movie for him to have done. Brian De Palma is probably one of my favorite directors, like in my top 10. I especially love, Body Double, but I have talked about that in the past, but I always love his movies. But, the newest, I think the newest one, though, is probably the best movie. I think that was the most, the thing about these movies, too, is, Tom Cruise always is doing all of his own stunts, and, like, he really goes for it, and you can tell they're not, all the stuff in this movie is not all, like, in the films, are not all about, like, green screens as much as stuff like that. A lot of it is like doing it practically and everything. But in here, though, it has the 4K set as well as the Blu-ray set. So in here, like a little look at the Blu-ray, it has all the films as well as the newest film, which has a extra bonus disc as well of features. And then in here it has the 4K, which has the digital copies of all the films. And this, and all these ones too look really good on, on 4K. Like I said, I've talked about all these ones in the past, but wanted to let you guys know about this edition here, which is available, which has all the films together in this really cool set. And also it has a classified thing, which is I believe this is exclusive to this set, which has it goes kind of all about kind of the characters from the films throughout the films, and kind of has like their profiles and kind of like kind of like they're looking for them and all that kind of stuff, like their classified files. So that's a cool thing that they included in here, which I believe is exclusive though to this set. Now this is also here from Paramount as well, and this is a show that airs on the Paramount Network, and this is a series here called Yellowstone, which is the complete first season. This is a second season. This is going to be coming to the Paramount Network in the summer. This is essentially though about Kevin Costner's character, who is this it's in, I think it's in Dakota. I can't remember where it's set. But it's basically though, he is like this huge landowner and owns like this huge amount of land, and everybody kind of is trying to get this land from him. They want to develop it. They want to build like houses and housing developments there, and he doesn't want to sell it. And it's kind of this whole big thing, and it's dealing all with in this whole area with the disagreements between the Native Americans there and portions of what's their land, and like it's all about like the chief of the Native American casino there. He's trying to get some of the land, and it's all sorts of disagreements and problems with one another. But it's a really well put together character piece. Really great acting. Kevin Costner though does a really good job in this. This has on here though a bunch of different featurettes on the show. Has a thing on here about the music on here, as well as working on Yellowstone, the special effects, Costner on Yellowstone, so a whole bunch of different features on this release as well here. And the next one here is from Warner Bros. They sent out a free copy of this one to let you guys know that this one is available. This is a film here, Smallfoot. This is basically though about a whole community of Bigfoot Yetis that are all living together, and they have like their own, like the way they know about like the history of their land and their past and everything is there's a person there who's like in charge of all these rocks. They wear all these rocks on them that have like these stones that have like the history and the past and everything written on them, like this is why we do this, and our land is held up by these buffaloes, and every morning you have to ring this gong to wake everybody up. And the one Yeti in this film, his father is the one who's in charge of like ringing the gong, and he like gets shot at this like slingshot thing with his head, wearing a helmet to like ring the gong, and his character is like soon to follow in his father's footsteps to take over that position. But one day though, when he's training for this, he ends up getting shot out and ends up seeing this plane crashing down, and sees this character that's came out of the plane, and this human being, and like because the rock character who wears the rocks had said in the past that there's no such things as Smallfoot, which is what they call humans. They don't exist. And he comes back and says, I saw this plane, I saw this Smallfoot character, and they're all like looking, and they don't see it because the plane went over the cliff and before anyone could see it. And of course though, because of that, and he's arguing with the stones, because you cannot argue with what these stones say, that's like the rules of everything, they end up making him leave the community. And they're like going to the one's father, well, he'll come back. Once he knows he was making this up for attention, he'll come back. But he's out there trying to prove this. And out there nearby, though, James Corden's character, and Channing Tatum's character plays the main Yeti. James Corden's character is a guy who's filming like a reality type show, documentary type show, looking at like the animals and like bugs and plants and all that kind of stuff, like a nature type show. And he gets wind, though, from the plane that crashed, from the guy who said that he saw this Yeti. He's basically, going to, he thinks, oh, I could show this for my show, and this would, like, increase the ratings, and I could have some content and everything, and he wants to kind of discover this. So it's kind of about the one character trying to find him, and then the Yeti character trying to find a human to kind of prove that, he wasn't lying and making all this stuff up. But this has on here, though, the Yeti sing-along version, which has, like, pop-up sing-along stuff for this, as was a mini movie here and a music video on this release. The next one here is from... This one is from RLJ Entertainment. It's a movie starring, this has Elle Fanning and Ben Foster, and it's called Galveston. And this is, the 4K Ultra HD release of this. And this is basically I will say though, this is one of those movies that is just like such a sad film. Like I got really emotional with this movie, and and I have to say too, Elle Fanning has never been, in my opinion, been something I didn't think was a good movie. Like everything she's been in, I've liked. And Ben Foster, I've been a fan of him since 6 Feet Under. Like I think that was the first thing I ever saw him in, and he's always great. You know, he was in Hell and High Water, but he's always really, really good. And he's basically though, his character finds out though, very beginning of this movie, that he has some kind of a thing with his lungs, and he's not looking good, and he's going to die, and he doesn't have like hardly any time left, and he works for Beau Bridges' character, kind of like doing like some shady kind of jobs and everything. And Ben Foster's character is also seeing Beau Bridges' girlfriend, and he sets him up to go to this house to get something, and then of course it was a setup to kill Ben Foster's character. But when he gets there though, Elle Fanning's character was kidnapped because there was something else going on there, and he ends up escaping with her and, you know, saving her. And they're kind of going on this trip to kind of get away as far away as they can. And it's essentially, though, all about what's going on between, you know, Ben Foster's character, who is like really depressed about what, you know, because of his life, and he knows he's really sick. And then Elle Fanning's character, who is like also running away from this terrible father. And then it's all sorts of things that are going on, and it's just a really sad but amazing character piece, amazing acting in this movie. Everybody was really, really good. If you guys have seen this one, let me know what you thought of this. But just keep in mind, though, it is, you know, go into this knowing that it is an extremely emotional movie. At least it was to me. 4K wise, though, looks great. The next one here, I'll have a link though below for this one and the next one where you guys can order these for the best price. But this is from Film Rise, and this is a movie that I was really looking forward to seeing. This is called The Miseducation of Cameron Post, which stars you know, Chloe Grace Moritz and Sasha Lane from American Honey. The director of this, I have to see her other films, but she, you know, was the star of Creep 2 with Mark Duplass, and I thought she was really, really good in Creep 2, and she did an amazing job on this movie. This is basically, though, about Chloe Grace's character, who you know, comes from this kind of religious background with her family and everything, and she's found out that, you know, she is seeing this girl, and basically, you know, she's like she has a boyfriend, but she's really like, you know, a lesbian, and has this girl that she likes, and the boyfriend ends up finding out about that on one of their prom nights that they're at, and he kind of walks in, and because of that, she gets sent to this gay rehabilitation camp, and it's all about the things that she goes through, why she's there, and it's you know, when I think of like the first gay rehabilitation film was you know, with Natasha Lyonne and Cleo Duvall, which was you know, that was a comedy version of the whole situation, which was But I'm a Cheerleader, which is another really, really great movie, but this is done very, very serious, and it's also another very emotional movie. And I will say, too, this is Chloe Grace's absolute best performance. This is like, she really, really got to show so much range to her acting in this, and like it was allowed to really like let her, you know, show her expressions to everything and really perform so much to this role. And it was another just sad movie, because the whole thing about the idea of this stuff that's going on and making these people and trying to change them the way that they are, I hate that kind of stuff, honestly. I hate that they would do that to people, and just seeing this and seeing, you know, the way that they're trying to rehabilitate them, and the way things that they're saying to them, and all of it's just sad to me that the kind of stuff this goes on. And this stuff really does go on in some places, honestly. But a really, really amazing character piece film here. A great performances. Sasha Lane did a really, really good job in this movie as well. Everybody did really good. Definitely check this one out. This one here is from Sony. Like I said, I have a link below for you guys can order this one as well. And this is a movie that I always really like, this one, and you don't hear about this too much. And this has a really good cast in here. Will Wheaton's in here, Sean Astin, Keith Coogan, Andrew DeVolf, you know, from the Wishmaster films, is in here, Lou Gossett Jr., and this is called Toy Soldiers. And this is about a boys like prep school, boarding school, where all the kids there are like come from really rich backgrounds. Their family has to have a lot of money and everything, and they all have like bad behavior kind of problems and everything, and there ends up becoming like Andrew Duvall's character comes there and kind of takes over the school and like is basically holding everybody at gunpoint because like it's basically though about like for some reason though like the one person there is like the judge behind like judging some this one person if they're innocent and guilty, and they're kind of like holding all these kids hostage, and they start finding out more and more about like these kids and their families that they come through with all this money, so like holding the whole place hostage. But it's about Sean Astin's character and his friends trying to basically save everybody and all the kind of stuff that they go through and everything. But it's a really well done, like super tense movie. I saw this movie like I think the first time years and years back on like HBO, but looks like amazing on on Blu-ray. They did a really good job on the transfer on this one. This is another one. This one here is from Full Moon, and this is one of their films that was on their Moonbeam line. The first one that they released was Prehistoria. And this was the one that I remember seeing this one and talking about this one at school when this came on, like with the kids at school, because they used to play this one on the Disney Channel, and this one here was Pet Shop. And I have to be honest, these Moonbeam movies are amazing, and like, I don't know, maybe if you didn't grow up watching them, and you didn't have a connection to these movies, you wouldn't see them the same. So like if you were just watching these movies and you didn't see them as a kid, you wouldn't like them. I don't honestly know, but like to me, they're amazing, and they're just such fun movies. They're just I don't know, like I hope and please everybody, if you're a fan of these movies, buy these so they release all the other movies, because there's like Remote that I really want them to release, and then like the other Prehistoria films. All of the whole line, like the Jack Kirby ones. I think there was Jack Kirby, like, and they made like a ton of those. But this one is basically, though, about these aliens that come down from space to buy this pet shop. And they go there and they bring with them these, like, alien pets. And the alien pets can change to like regular pets and everything. But it's about a family though who moves in, and they're on like the witness protection program, because the father, who's played by the actor who played Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's, he's in there, and it's like in the witness protection thing, and she goes to this pet shop and really wants to get a pet, so she ends up getting one of these pets, and it's like of course it's the alien pet, and her and her friends get the pets too, and they're alien pets. And it's just sort of like all the weird stuff that's going on at this pet shop and what these aliens there who bought the place are planning and everything. But it is just such a fun movie, and I love the music in these movies. This one, though, Richard Band didn't do the music. It was a different composer, and it has a similar sound, though, to it. But like I said, these Moonbeam movies are, I honestly, when I heard they were releasing these and these were starting to come out, I couldn't tell you how excited I was, because like these, also, the Moonbeam movies never got released on DVD ever. So they were on VHS, and they were also hard to buy, because like they sort of pushed them as rentals. So like you'd see them on TV, but you couldn't really buy the tapes for certain ones, especially like Pet Shop and stuff, too easily. And this is back too, I remember when you would go to Suncoast and stuff, and if it was like a rare tape, they'd be like, we could get it for you. It was like $100. But like I said, so glad these are coming out, and just such a fun movie. And the next one here is from Screen Media, and this is Kevin Smith, Silent But Deadly, and this is the extended edition. This is the stand-up that Kevin Smith was performing, and this is like right afterwards he had his massive heart attack. And so glad, though, that everything is okay with him. But this is what he was filming when this had happened, right before the heart attack had happened. And if you guys know, Kevin Smith's stand-up, it's not really stand-up per se. It's more like Kevin Smith telling like stories, and kind of like long stories about like kind of funny experiences and things that had happened to him, his views on things and everything. I saw him too. It's really hard to see him now because like the lines are impossible and everything. But I used to always see him numerous times, probably like 4 or 5 times at Comic-Con when he was performing there, and he's always like really good. I always love his stuff, and I think he is super intelligent and like just tells really great stories. And like I said, this one here is the newest of the Kevin Smith stand-up storytellings that he has. This is from Screen Media as well. This one is called Elliot the Littlest Reindeer. This has Martin Shorten here doing a voice, as well as Jeff Dunham, John Cleese is on here. Josh Hutcherson is playing the main character, the main reindeer character, which is actually a horse. And it's basically what this is about, though, is about one of the reindeers, Santa's reindeers, is going to be retiring and doesn't want to do it anymore. And they're having like running tryouts like for other reindeers to replace. the reindeer that's leaving, and there's this horse though on a farm nearby that like finds out about this. So this horse is like, well, I want to do this, and why does it have to be a reindeer? Why couldn't it be a horse? So the horse is kind of training, and also like where the farm is, like there's other reindeers and stuff like that, and like he's always seen these reindeers like becoming successful and everything. So he's like practicing. It's all going to like the reindeer games and everything, where they're all like training camp and everything to be, you know, hopefully one of Santa's reindeers and everything. This is definitely much more of a kid's film, but, you know, animation-wise and everything, though, I thought this was actually pretty good animation on this one, to be honest, and it has on here, though, Meet Elliot featurette on this one. And the next one I got here is from Artsploitation Films, and it's a film here that's a German film called Snowflake. This is essentially, though, they could kind of compare this to, like, a Quentin Tarantino Pulp Fiction style film with that kind of vibe to this. Essentially, though, this is about these two guys, and they, like, they end up finding in the back of their car this script. And the script is like saying like the stuff that they said like last night when they were eating in this diner. And it's like saying the exact same type of things. And the one guy's getting really freaked out by this. Like, how is this possible? What is going on? And in this script, though, people are like coming after them and like, you know, trying to kill them and everything. Of course, like what they read in there is actually coming after them, coming to get them. So it's like people like dressed in these crazy, you know, outfits and like this, like all kind of nut stuff. Like, so it's basically them trying to track down like the guy who was writing them and trying to figure out how to stop what's going on and exactly what is happening to them and why all these people are kind of coming after them. And they kind of like, because of what's written down, they kind of know certain things are coming for them. So it's them kind of trying to stop them before they happen to them and everything. But it's just a really, really crazy characters coming after them. Like, you know, this superhero type guy and all kinds of like totally wacky, crazy stuff in here. This has on here, though, behind the scenes featurette on this one as well. The next one here is from Artsploitation Films as well. This is a Norwegian film here called Christmas Blood. It's a crazy Christmas killer Santa Claus slasher film. Always really love these like killer Santa Claus Christmas slasher films. This one, you know, is basically, though, about years before this guy who was dressed like Santa Claus had killed these people and, you know, was put into the insane asylum. Of course, though, he ended up escaping, and it's now about these police detectives who are trying to track down and find him, you know, to stop him before he can, you know, kill people again. But it's like a whole lot of crazy deaths, and it deals with like these girls that the Santa Claus is coming after and all these people in this kind of town and everything. And like I said, there's some really, really crazy, you know, super gory deaths and everything in this movie. Always love these Santa Claus slasher films. Of course, you know, I always think of like Silent Night, Deadly Night, you know, I talked about the second one in the beginning of the video, and things like Christmas Evil and stuff. So if you guys are fans of like Christmas slasher killer Santa movies, definitely check this one out here. And the last one here is from Unearthed Films. One of you guys know this is available. It's a movie here called Brutal, and it's basically, though, about this serial killer in Japan who's going around. He's trying to find a girlfriend, sort of, and this like sort of that's kind of what's going on, or his own true love. But he's kind of going around and killing all these people and these insane, like crazy, like killing death scenes and everything. But it's also, it shows the perspective too of this other woman that like is the one that he's going to come across that could be like his match finally. That's sort of what it is. So there's like, it kind of cuts between like the two characters. Like the first half is like his character and then it's her character and everything, but it's like a really, really brutal, intense movie. And it has on here, though, behind the scenes trailers and music videos on this one. But anyway, though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks so much for watching, subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.